How to brand yourself with authenticity. Branding is not just about your logo. It's about telling the story of who you are, what your business about, or what your mission in life is, and how to leave an impression. And today I have a great guest that I would like to introduce you. And so she's going to talk to us about the importance of branding. My name is Helia Singh. I'm your wealth coach. And as part of our new series or podcast that I'm interviewing with successful female coaches, I would like you to take this journey with me and watch and learn from beautiful Deena Syed. She's got the branding and marketing agency in Western Australia, Perth. And obviously, as a female who knows all about how to present yourself, and not only yourself, your authenticity, and as well as your business. I'm so proud and honored to have Deena in our show. Welcome, Deena. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Helia, and thanks for inviting me in your coaching interview series.
You're welcome. So yeah, branding is even me as a business owner. The first time I've heard the word branding, it was a bit scary because you just thought, "Oh, am I there yet?" Or "When should I do it?" Or maybe it's too soon, or is it too late? It's just a lot of confusion around this word branding, and so many people they mistake it or they confuse it with just marketing or paying for ads in a Facebook here and there. But what is exactly branding means to you?
Yeah, so like you said, there's a lot of confusion about branding. A lot of people just assume, oh, your brand is your logo, or your brand is your colors, or your corporate identity. But your brand is actually much more than that, and it starts well before you put something on paper. So before you even see the logo, we need to understand what's the personality of your brand. So a brand is basically an identity, something that represents your brand, your business, you as the leader, and everything that you leave as an impression with a customer or someone who's seen you around. So it's a gut feeling. And then how do you control a gut feeling? So when we talk about branding, it's going to the next level up. It's not marketing. Marketing is very easy. It's like, hey, I'm here, I'm selling this for that price. Do you want to buy it? That's marketing, it's a lot to do with a transaction,
Mhm.
but branding is taking the next level up. So that's a relationship. Are you building a relationship with your customer, or are they using you because they need to use you? There's no other choice. A lot of businesses are successful because they're the first one to come into a business and they're first one to create a product. And that product is so new and everyone wants it. There's a demand for it and everyone goes there. So that business then maybe says, oh, I don't need to invest in a brand because my product is great. But in 10 years, when your IP is over, your competitors come up with it, what happens? Do you lose people because it's a cheaper on the other side? That means you never had a relationship with your customer. It was a transaction. So as a business owner, people need to start thinking, what are we contributing to our customers' life? Are we creating a customer experience? Because if it's an experience, it's a brand. If it's a transaction, then no, you know. So
Okay.
then that comes from your values. What do you represent as a brand? And also how you deliver that idea or that dream that you're selling. Because it's all good to say, oh, yeah, I'm this beautiful brand, I look good. But then when people use you, they don't get the same feeling.
Mhm.
There's a disconnect. So a few things we do is like we start with understanding what are you about? What are you trying to do as a business? Now a lot of businesses just want to do transactions. I just want money. Then yeah, okay, just focus on marketing. You're not ready to invest in a brand. Because when you're creating a brand, you're creating an emotion and an entity that's going to survive you and your business. So that's something you can sell. When you hear people say, oh, my business has goodwill, what does that mean? What does that mean? And someone asked me this week actually, and I talked about branding and how to invest in your website, and it's an asset. So when I'm talking about budgets to people, they don't understand that the marketing budget is an investment. They think about it as an expense because it sits as an expense on the balance sheet. but it's not an expense if you're investing in it and you're growing your brand, right? So if you're creating a logo that has meaning in it, go and try to buy Coca-Cola's logo. You can't, go try to buy Apple's logo. You can't, but there's value to it. Where does that value sit? It doesn't sit on your balance sheet. No. So but when, if you're selling a business and your logo, which has goodwill, which people value it and look at it and go, I know this, I want to go there, I want to buy it, I trust it, has value, then you can say my business is worth X based on transaction, but my logo is worth X based on goodwill, right? So how do you get there? And that's when you need to, when I tell people a lot, that, you guys need to shift your mindset. It's not anymore in the expense area of your balance sheet. It needs to be in the investment area. And in investment is long-term.
Absolutely. I love that you told me this story, because I can vouch for it. Well, as a wealth coach, actually, I sit with the clients. I know if they're buying a new business or selling a business, or how to go to the next step in their financial life. And I just had a client recently who sold her business, and because she wanted to do something else, and she had two businesses, and she sold one of them just for her logo and website. So for that, she got about $30,000 just for that, because the other person said, okay, I'll buy your business, but I want this one as well. But at first she wasn't ready to sell it, because said, I want to keep it. But then we had a chat. I said, well, okay, now you're moving to the different area. Maybe it's time to start, new things in that area, and more you can sell it. So I absolutely agree with that yes, your logo, your website is actually investment. We can sell it off.
Exactly.
And make good money.
It's an asset. It's an
Yes,
asset.
it's an asset. It's not an expense.
Beyond that. So it good has to look at everything we do. And I mean, I deal with a lot of small businesses now. But I used to work as a head of marketing for bigger companies. But like everything I do as a head of marketing is a reflection of the assets that I'm building for the business. So if we have procedures when it comes to the product management, the IP, if you trademark your logo, like all this stuff is like, why are you investing in it? So because one day you can sell it for more. It's just like property, isn't it?
Exactly.
There's so many things you can invest in. And I see people just like running businesses for 10 years, but they don't look good,
Yeah.
They're good at what they do, they don't look good. But if you looked a bit better, you'll attract a lot more people to you. And because you are already good, then the people will stay, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it's just a makeover to make you look as good as you are.
Yes.
Sometimes
You keep up with it.
you keep up with it, but sometimes it's also about processes that you have internally. That's part of your branding, because if you say, oh, our customers are always satisfied, how do you prove that? So you have great customer service, you monitor that, you have an NPS score, because all this stuff in the process is what people are going to assess when you want to sell your business one day. So I always look at the business like, what am I going to get? It's my baby. Yes, I created it, but I still look at it like, when I want to sell it one day, what do I have to put in place in order to do that? Because everything, I mean, you're like me, we have an investor's mindset, right? We're entrepreneurs. And we look at it like, how can I make things better so it gets more value in the future?
Exactly. Absolutely. I'm glad we had this chat, because now I can hear some people who are watching, they may think, okay, so when is the best time I'll do it? Should I get there and then go for a brand, or I'm about to start a business? I don't even know what I'm going to do or what's my value yet. So it's one of those, chicken and egg things. So should I do marketing to get client and then do branding, or should I do branding? So what's your answer there?
So I would say, like anything, you always start with a plan, right? And a branding strategy is a plan. So if again, like, if you don't have a branding strategy, at least have a marketing strategy. Because if you're going blind into a market, so what is marketing? A lot of people even don't understand that. Marketing comes from the word market, right? You want to go and penetrate a market. So you're thinking, I've got the best product in this market, and I can go and penetrate that. Now, do you know what your main competitors are? Do you know what you're up against? That's part of marketing, and that's part of your strategy. So that's the basic research you need to do before you even start a business. So I always say start with the strategy. You don't want to, that's why so many, 70% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. You don't want to be there. It's so easy to fail if you don't have a plan, but you need to be able to know what you're against are, you know. But what even is worse for me is when I see people spending 5 grand, 10 grand on a logo. And it's like, whoa, do you have that kind of money to throw at a logo? Do you have 20K to throw at a website? And is it the kind of website you want? So I find it, if people sit down and have a good strategy session, they understand then, okay, I've only got 10K to play with this year because I'm starting a business. I really need to spend, it's just like any budget. It's like, I
Mhm.
really need to spend only 1,000 or 2,000 to get the logo right, and then I need to get a website for 4, 5 grand. That's it. And what's left, 3 grand, I want to spend that in advertising. So you want to always have at least a 50-50 split, because you need money for ads to promote your business. So
Mhm.
the ultimate goal for me, for my clients, is for them to spend 40% of their budget in resources, so having someone to create it for them, um, creating the ads, paying for videos, paying for stuff that they need to support it, and then the 60% in media. Media is SEO, is pay-per-click ad, Facebook ad, LinkedIn ad, you name it, paper ad, newspaper ad, or stuff like that. Whatever you need to do to get off the ground, because if people don't see what you create, there's no point in creating it, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So, it is your advice that even if somebody is about to start their business, at least have a strategy session to find out, okay, how much the money they should put aside for their, uh, or not to as an expense again, with that mindset of how much do they need to invest in their marketing, in their branding. So then they will go open eyes and start a business.
Yeah,
Isn't it? So,
definitely. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it is definitely even for the startup. So for those of you who are
especially.
watching, if you are a startup or you are sitting on the fence, oh, because I had actually had chat with some clients that say, I'm about to start my business, or already started, I already have some clients, but haven't done the website yet. I'm still thinking of certain things. So at least have a chat. Deena is here, so you can contact her and have a chat to see what is the next step for you. So that would be, to me, a best strategy you could have for your business if you want to be successful. So some
Yeah.
of us may start it and think that, okay, maybe it's too soon or I'm not ready yet. But for some of you, instead of spending your money here and there and then come back to this place after a few years with a heartache, so you better do it in the beginning. And I remember a couple of years ago when the first time we had a strategy session together, and you helped me to see where am I sitting with my business. It was just the time actually was more focusing on my wealth coaching side of my business when I had the chat with you. I remember one thing you mentioned that made me think about it further. And it was just like, yes, you go and buy all this, let's say, beautiful furniture. You go to this shop and you buy this gorgeous couch, whatever color. And then you go to another shop and you see this beautiful lamp. Yes, they may all will look nice, but when you put them together, they are actually a disaster. So you need to have a flow. You need to that each area speaks to the other one. So then even though it is your own choice. So, but when you look at it or when others are looking at it, which obviously business is all about that, okay, you will attract the right customers or the people who have the same value as you. So they'll understand and they will feel comfortable. So yeah, it is great. So don't think that yes, I'll just go buy only put money, let's say $10,000 and get the best website and that's it, sit aside. And then after a few years, go get marketing because that person may not understand this area. But when you go with someone who is focusing on branding, so branding is like an umbrella. So then they can cover your marketing as well. And they all will speak to each other. That's
Yeah.
very beautifully said. I loved it.
I think especially because like small businesses, and this is why I created this agency. So small businesses cannot have a marketing manager or a head of marketing. They can't afford one, right? And
Absolutely.
then they only can afford one when they're around 1 million and 2 million.
Mhm.
So who is making those decisions? And then are you equipped to make those decisions? No.
Mhm.
And why does a company at 1 million say, oh, we need someone to look after the marketing? Because the owner is like too busy focusing on growing the business and the operations. He needs someone to coordinate the website, the design work, and all that. Because if you don't have someone to coordinate that, you get a digital agency. That digital agency will do whatever they want, and the designer will do whatever they want. But they're not respecting your brand guidelines. They don't understand the vision of the business. So what we've created is an integrated agency where if you can't afford a marketing manager yet, you can still tap into me when you need it as a project base.
Mhm.
And you should do it when you're having your big strategic review. If once a year, before you start anything, you should have a budget. You
Yeah.
should understand, like, okay, that's all I've got to play with. Like anything in life, isn't it? Hell yeah, you need to plan. So
Absolutely.
why are you not planning this? Because if, like you said, you go to a networking function and you meet an amazing sweet talker digital guy, and he goes, "I'll build you this amazing site." What do you know? You don't
Mhm.
know if it's true or not true. You know what I mean? So you just build this site and it's gone,
Yeah.
and then you don't have money to market your business, which is wrong. So a lot of what I do is educate my clients on this, and I say, especially when they're small, but small means nothing, because with the right strategy, you can scale really quickly.
Yeah, I love that. My word is education. So I love it when you say you like to educate clients because we want to have people who didn't know how to do it or why they're doing this. So rather than just always sitting in the dark, don't know, and waiting for someone to throw things at them, because again, marketing or branding to me is some of it is very subjective. So like let's say somebody look at this logo, they may think, oh, it's gorgeous, beautiful. Another person look at it and said, that's rubbish. So but you want to work with someone who have at least same values. So then you do not listen to others. If somebody else comes and say, no, this doesn't look good, then you don't
Yeah.
need to
I
worry
mean,
about that.
especially when it comes to logo. Like I have some strange conversations with clients sometimes, and not really set on the color. Pink is
Yeah,
not my thing, and it's like I always tell them, my walls don't have any logos at home.
yeah.
I've designed many logos, but nothing sits on my wall. I'm not going to frame it. You're not going to frame it.
I
It's not
have
about
framed it. Sorry, I have framed it.
But the logo is not about you as a business
Exactly.
owner. That's
Yes,
the main thing,
yes,
right?
that's
It's
right.
not about you, and and this is where the ego comes into play. The business owners, they think it's their business, their
Yes,
baby. No, because you're not going to buy your own product.
yeah.
So you need people to like it, to understand what it means to buy it. So there's a psychology behind colors. And if you tap into the right color, you get the right people. So
Mm.
then there's a process to designing a logo. We come up with different options. We have discussions about it. We're like, okay, this one is too serious. This one is actually in the middle and it gives a bit of this. But I also ask, in 5 years, is this logo still relevant?
Mm.
Because you don't want to change the logo in 5 years or even 10 years. It's every time you
Mm.
change a logo, it's a big risk. So you want to be cautious when you're doing it. So it's always better if you get it
Good.
right, and then you can do slight evolutions, but I'm always cautious about changing a logo completely
Mm.
because you don't want to disrupt your business too much.
Wow. Oh, thanks for that. So is this the same thing for the colors?
Well,
To change
colors
the
have
colors?
yeah, because a lot of people have like your clients normally don't remember the shape of your logo or even the words. Sometimes they just see the color and they remember that. So we
Mm.
look
I
at it
love
and
that.
go, okay, we can tell if the logo is strong, the color is strong enough that it's overpowering the symbol, then you're like, oh, you want to stick with that color. You don't want to
Mm.
disrupt it, right? But
Mhm.
then when you look at any piece of art or artwork, you know what element attracts you first.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
whatever that element is, if you're evolving a brand, you don't want to change that. If you now is if the company itself has changed direction completely, then it's different.
Okay, of
So
course.
if the companies go, like, for example, Woolworth has this massive rebranding, right? Remember, the old Woolworth logo was red and then it turned into green. So that was a big disruption. Everything was different, but they had a big shift. They were less of a cheap store. They didn't want to compete on price anymore with Coles. They said, now we want to be about freshness. So but it was a big disruption, right?
Yeah.
So we always have to think about long term with a brand and what does that mean, So I've done a lot of rebranding for existing businesses. A lot of the time we keep the same colors. So
Okay.
they don't, the people, and especially if the logo was weak, like not the very attractive or nothing that would stay in your mind, that maybe the owner designed, himself 10 years ago.
Or a true fiver, pay $5 and got it done.
So
Yes.
then, when we change the logo, you get comments like, "Oh, it's so subtle, like it, but it feels familiar," and you want that because you don't want to alienate your existing clients.
Oh, great. That's gold. I mean, all your wisdom here, I'm sure, is going to help not only the startup businesses and also the people who are already running a business and think about it to say, okay, if you really want to keep going in what you have, or is it the time to have at least conversation? So thanks so much for that, Deena. One last question. Um, of course, when we talk about branding, so I've heard this from some big gurus here and there in those seminars that they're talking about branding by association. So you associate yourself with the big brands. So, and this way you will be known. I understand the marketing side into it, and it's got nothing to do with me wearing a Wonder Woman bracelet. I'm not trying to say I'm Wonder Woman, but this just makes me feel good. But how much authenticity is in there?
So it goes back to your identity. Like, there's a beautiful book called The Secret of Objects, right? And then we don't realize that we buy objects that is an extension of our personality, right? So
Wow.
when and this is where the neuromarketing comes part of it, right? So we say, okay, what do you drive? I drive a Merc, or I drive a Toyota. But if someone says, oh, I drive a Merc or Range Rover or a Ferrari,
Yes.
we automatically associate meaning with that person. But just like we do that automatically, they did the same thing when they bought it, right? So that's, when we're doing a brand association, whether it is a sponsorship or it is,
Yeah.
what are you wearing? Are you
Yeah.
wearing a Gucci bag to a female networking meeting?
Yeah.
What does that Gucci bag mean about you? So everything that we look at and we see has meaning, but it normally goes to your subconscious and we don't realize that. So we go through life, we go through our days, and there's meaning everywhere. And this is why, say Deepak Chopra says, surround yourself with beautiful things, right? Because if you control your environment, then you're controlling what you see, right? So
Ah,
this is the same with brands. So if you're a business owner, and okay, so for for example, if you're like a real estate guy and you're supposed to be like this high shot and you're successful. Now, if you rock to the meeting in an old car, people will be like, what's going on?
yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're supposed to be this successful business owner, why are you not having a car under your business and stuff like that? So people do make the connection. So I had my first boss actually in the agency. He had a Range Rover and a Jag as his cars, and then he put like the name of the agency on both of them. And he said this was just for branding. And I didn't really understand much back then, but he would go and get his contracts and he would smoke his cigar. This was his brand.
Yeah.
And because he was a successful business owner, that's the image he was portraying. That was his confidence to attract and win contracts. So all of this, it's like we like to think that, oh no, we're very authentic, but you can't. What is authenticity? Because we're influenced by culture, we're influenced by the surrounding, by how we shop, what we buy. So at the end of the day, it's like you are a reflection of your environment, and your environment is a reflection of you. So we cannot be like, oh, I'm unique.
Yeah.
Uniqueness doesn't exist. You have to live by association, isn't it?
I really liked it. So it's all about being, first of all, self-awareness that, okay, let's say, yeah, if I'm drawn to buy Wonder Woman bracelets, so that means has some meaning for me.
It has some
But
meaning.
at the same time, being authentic to what you believe it got. So you can't just, let's say, talking all about fresh food and health and stuff, but smoke a
But you're not
cigarette.
living it.
Yeah,
Yes, you're not living it. Yeah.
living that identity that you
Exactly.
choose
Yes.
to
This
be.
is you. I think you've hit it on the head there, because authenticity is about understanding what you feel inside and this comes a lot in the interview we do with business owners in their strategy session, right? Because I go, it's a deep dive, it's an in-depth interview, and I understand where you're at in your business, but also where you're at in your head and with yourself, right? Because if you're saying, I value the environment, I want to
Mm.
save the environment. For me, eco-friendly is, then I'm like, straight away, I will look at your product, and I'll look at your process, and I'll say, I want to
Yes,
see that,
yes,
And so I put people on the spot a lot, because I can't go as a marketer, I can't go out there and say, hey, I am all for this. But then look back and, everyone's going to say I'm a liar,
yes,
So we cannot do misleading advertising. That doesn't work because the customer
exactly,
doesn't stay. Right. So
exactly.
authenticity is you actually putting your money where your mouth is. And if you're not ready to put your money there, just shut your mouth. That's how it is.
Nice and easy. That's authenticity. I like that. Straightforward. Tell them what to do. I really appreciate that. So, folks, you heard it all. So, branding is not just about your logo, is overall about what you like to be known as. So, whether you are about to start your business or you already have a business, I promise you that please contact Deena. I've already done a session with her, and hopefully soon we're going to do other things together so she can help me with my business. So it's all about that the right people and just find out how they can help you. And then, of course, as part of this series or this podcast series, you are meeting people that you see that how much you can connect with them and hopefully, do the business or have a contributions to each other and collaborate with them. So if you like this video, please make sure to like it and put your comments. And of course, we're going to have the Deena's bio in there, plus all her links, how to get in touch with her. And yeah, if you've got any questions, don't afraid to reach either directly to me or to Deena herself. And so yeah, really, really appreciate Deena for being here and sharing these things with us. Thank
you,
you.
Lamia. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Wonderful. Until next episode, have a healthy, wealthy life. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.